Hello everyone, this is Vidhanpandya. In this video, I want to talk about how do we predict with transit. Transit is a very important factor because unless the event is promised or unless the time is right for the event, which is seen through transit, the event is not going to occur. The dashas are fairly long. Dasha of Venus runs for 20 years. Dasha of Saturn runs for 19 years. Dasha of Rahu runs for 18 years. So Dasha periods are fairly long. Now, out of this Dasha of 20 years, in which Dasha, which event is going to happen, how will you analyze? For that, you need to also see the transit of the planet. For an event to occur, three things must match. First is the promise in the natal chart. Second, in the Dasha should be appropriate. You have to look at Dasha and Antardasha to see if the event is going to happen in this Dasha or not. Third is the transit. And this is going to be my focus for this video, which is the transit. I'm going to take you through my methodology of how do I analyze the event, any event, or how do I predict any event based on these three factors, which is promise in natal chart, Dasha which is running, Dasha Antardasha which is running, and third is the transit. Transit has to be analyzed through different factors. Like I'm going to use Varga transit, and I'm also going to see transit of planet over slow moving planet. So these are some of the things which we are going to cover in this video. So I'm going to take you through the example of Kamala Harris. Let's open the chart of Kamala Harris. Now let's first talk about the natal chart. Again, as I said, the promise has to be there in the natal chart. So here, this is the natal chart of Sri Kamala Harris. And what you can see here is you have Rahu at 1 degree and ascendant also is 1 degree. So Rahu is right on the degree of ascendant, which makes it very, very powerful, right? Rahu in Gemini sign is supposed to be one of the very powerful placement of Rahu because Rahu is considered to be exalted in Gemini as per some rishis. So Rahu in Gemini is a and this Rahu, since it is an ascendant, it's going to impact all areas of her life, right? Now let's quickly jump into the Dasha. Again, this chart has many combinations for her to be so successful in her life. I do not want to get into all of that, like what is the promise of natal chart, because that itself will be a topic of like several videos which I can create. So without getting too much into the natal chart, let's also quickly review what are the dashas that she is running. So she's running Mahadasha of Venus. So this is Vimshotri Dasha, and under Vimshotri Dasha scheme, she's running Mahadasha of Rahu. And under Rahu Mahadasha, Antardasha of Venus, and then third level Dasha of Sun is running. Now, the event which I want to talk about is something which happened in the month of August. In the month of August 2024, Professor Joe Biden, in the month of July, he said that he is going to quit his presidential campaign. He do not want to run for the presidentialship for his second term. And because of that, Kamala Harris got an opportunity to run for the presidential post from the Democratic Party. And all these events are happening in the month of August. So I think towards the end of July, Joe Biden said that he's stepping down from the presidential race. And by 5th of August 2024, Kamala Harris was able to get the support from the Democratic Party. And she officially accepted her Democratic Party nomination on 22nd of August, right? So this is a very important date in her career. So during this time, 22nd of August 2024, she was running Dasha of Rahu and under Rahu you have Venus and Sun and then Jupiter. Now let's see why these planets are so important. So Rahu Dasha, we all know Rahu. We know that it is a very important planet in terms of political ambition. Rahu is your wants unlimited. Rahu is expansion. Rahu is growth. Rahu is mystery. Rahu is Maya, and so on and so forth. Venus. Now let's see Venus. So Venus is the lord of 12th house, and more importantly, it is the lord of 5th house. 5th house is the house of power. It is the seat of power. It is also your learning, knowledge, royalty, and authority. Authority is also seen from the 5th house. So 5th house is for getting like for becoming like president or head of a state of any country. 5th house and 10th house have to be very strong, and then followed by planets which are sun. Sun is a very important planet because sun represent the government, right? And then moon is important planet. Jupiter and Mars also are equally important. But more important is the Rahu. Rahu is a very important planet, especially in the Kali Yuga. So that's why Rahu is very important. Then fifth lord Venus Dasha is running. Venus is there is an exchange between Venus and Sun. If you pay attention, Venus is in the Leo sign, whereas Sun is in the Libra sign. So there is an exchange. There is a niche bhanga which is happening for Sun because Sun is in Libra sign, which is a debilitation sign of Sun, and you have Mercury also with it. So this exchange of Venus and Sun are making her chart more powerful, and it is giving her all the opportunities, all the blessings that she needs to kind of get the presidential ticket from the Democratic Party, and all this is happening in the signs of Venus and Sun. And then Sun Antardasha is running, and we know there is an exchange of Sun and Venus. So Sun is acting as the fifth lord, and Venus is acting as third lord. So again, both of these planet dashas are very important. And then Jupiter, she was able to muster all the support from the Democratic Party in by 5th of August, right? Because 5th of August is your period of sun. Again, 5th of August is your period of sun, which is running. So sun, again, we know why sun is important in this chart for our analysis purposes. And then 22nd of August is when she was able to um, she was able to officially announce that she's accepting the nomination from the Democratic Party as the presidential candidate. So 22nd of August, which will also fall in the Rahu period. So again, Rahu is also a very important planet, as we have discussed earlier. Now let's look at the transit. On the 22nd of August 2024, this is the superimposed chart. What you find is the Mahadashanath, the Mahadasha planet, which is Rahu, is in the 10th house. 10th house, as per BPHS, is the house of royalty, place in the society, profession, honor, father, and so on and so forth. So again, your career is to be seen from the 10th house. Your actions, your karma has to be seen from the 10th house, right? Now, Rahu is coming into the 10th house, which means Rahu wants her to be in the driver's seat. She is the vice president of the United States, but now Rahu wants her to be in the driver's seats, and that's what she is being driven. Rahu wants her to go for presidential election, and Rahu wants her to focus on the 10th house, all the significations of the 10th house, which is the power, authority, place in the society, profession, honor. All these things will become so much important for her. Rahu, see, the 10th house is the most important house in the chart, right? The most important trikon, the most important Kendra houses in the chart. 10th house is your expansion, right? How much power you can wield, how much authority you have, what is your status in the society, right? All these things are from the 10th house, and Rahu wants unlimited. Rahu wants power unlimited. Rahu wants authority unlimited, and that can only happen when you become the president, right? So this is what Rahu's role in this entire mix. So Rahu transit in the 10th house is a very powerful transit. It wants her to be in the front seat. It wants her to drive things, do things, act, because it is the house of action. So Rahu wants action, 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 right? Now the second important transit is, then we should also look into transit of Jupiter. All the slow-moving planet transits are very important. So we'll first analyze the transit of slow-moving planets first. Jupiter is transiting over the natal Jupiter. So that is again a very important thing. Now Jupiter is the 10th lord, and 10th lord, and then the 10th lord is transiting over the natal 10th lord. So again, focus is on career, status, authority, karma. All these things are getting highlighted here also. Saturn is over Saturn. Saturn transit is also on the natal Saturn. So what does it mean? Now, it means whatever karma she had, um, she has to fulfill that karma in her life. So whatever karma she is assigned, Saturn is karmic planet, right? Saturn is what represent our karma, right? And when karma, the planet of karma is again coming back on the natal karma, so that kind of gives it kind of encourages person to do what they desire to do, right? And and ninth house is the house of dharma. The ninth house is also about law and the law making, right? So again, this is what she wanted to do in her life, and this Saturn transit over natal Saturn is kind of telling her this is your time, right? So now many of us may not be able to remember all these things, like what is the promise of transiting planet over natal planet, and how do we see results of transit of slow moving planets over natal planet. So for that, what we have done here is, in the transit result section, we've included the predictions related to transit of slow moving planets over natal planets. Now Jupiter is transiting over her natal Jupiter. So the results are very good time for native to concentrate on self-development, name and fame. And then you have decision regarding childbirth and family. So again, childbirth is out of question because she is already 60 years old. Now, make additions to the family can happen, and she has children, and maybe there are grandchildren which which we may hear about in the upcoming times. But let's focus on the first part of the results here. Very good time for native to concentrate on self-development, name and fame. So we know for you to win this election, you need to have a lot of support from the people. You need to have name, fame, support from the people, so that on the day of election, which is 5th of November, you get plenty of votes to win this race. So for her to achieve name and fame, the millions of dollars of funds are going to be spent to build her image, right? So all the name and fame is coming with this presidential election. She has to focus on self. She has to work on her image. She needs to be a voice to be heard of. She needs to come to the central stage. She has to go from pillar to post for her for campaigning for herself, right? She needs to talk about her policies. She needs to talk about the important issues which world is facing today, right? The wars which are happening. She has to be very clear in terms of what is her stand on the ongoing wars and what does she want us to do, right? She has to be very clear about abortion laws, especially in the US. She has to be very clear on the arm race that is happening, the inflation that we are seeing in this country. So all these things are very, very important for her. Now, Saturn transiting over the natal Saturn indicates additional hard work. If somebody is running for the presidential election, it's not an easy task. You have millions of dollars being spent, and this probably is your once in a lifetime opportunity. Can you let it go so easily? No, nobody will, right? So you will do whatever is in your control to win that election. You don't mind working 24/7, right? She will be traveling, she'll be meeting people, she'll be out in middle of people, doing her campaigns, again, sharing her thoughts, sharing her point of views, sharing about her policies without criticizing the current government policies, right? That's even difficult. It's easy for Trump to say that, okay, Biden administration this did A, B, and C things which were incorrect. But for Kamala Harris to go out in the public and say, I did something wrong, will be a total fiasco. So she has to be very careful, but at the same time, she needs to go out, she needs to win, she needs to win heart of the people so that they can go out and vote for her. In order to do that, it requires a lot of work. And because of a lot of work, our efficiency may come down, right? If we work too much, then we may not be as efficient as we will be on the regular days. Um, there is also nervous breakdowns and health problems may pop up. Again, if you work without taking a break, your health will suffer. And since if your health is going to suffer, it will show up in some way or form. Um, Vata may get aggravated. So this is the time when people if you have Vata related issues in general, then those issues will get aggravated. If you don't have Vata issues generally, then it won't impact you much. But again, this is some of the predictions which are given. Again, these are very generic. These are not specific, but this is what is written in the text, classical text. This is what the books of astrology are saying. Not everything may be applicable to everyone, but again, it gives you enough hints to see what is going to happen when the slow moving planets are transiting over your natal planets. Very important feature, always review this section if you are new to astrology, or if you are even if you are a professional astrologer, it does not harm to review this section because it gives you hints which may be useful for you when you are consulting, when you are helping somebody, when you are looking at somebody's chart, right? So these will always give you hints. Now let me also talk about the transit Astakavarga. So again, I know astrologers who will not give any prediction without looking into Astakavarga. Right? I've met several of them, and we all know Astakavarga is a very powerful system for us, and it is a very simple system also. Now, what it gives us is, especially if you click on this transit Astakavarga section, it will tell you that what is the binnastakavarga score of each of these planets in their own binnastakavarga during the transit. So here, what it is telling us that Sun, we'll start with Sun. So Sun is getting a score of 5. So this is the score of 5 out of 8. 8 is a maximum score. The meaning of a score of 5 in Sun's Vinastak Varga is acquisition of wealth. He is getting a lot of donations. In a way, she is getting wealth. Moon is 4. Moon is average. Four is the average score for Moon. So which means mixed results. It's good and bad both ways. Mars is getting a score of 2. Mars is below average. Average is 4. So anything which is 4 and below is definitely not good. Quarrel on account of coveted thing or money, defeats from enemy. So again, when she is out in the debates, when she is out in front of your TV anchors and the media, there are always going to be some wins and some losses, right? So there are times when she is going to be a underdog, right? So these things are bound to happen, but what is most important is on the day of election, what people are going after, whom people are supporting is what matters the most. There are, again, remember, there are always fights and there are always battles. So fights you can lose some, but battle is what you need to win. Mercury is again giving her the mixed score for lack of enthusiasm in work, contentment. So there is always going to be some degree of anxiety, some degree of um, uh, lack of happiness because there is so many things going on around you. Jupiter is in a very good spot here. Jupiter is getting a score of 5 out of 8, which means destruction of enemies, success in undertaking. Remember, Jupiter is the 10th lord also. So Jupiter over natal Jupiter, and then you have score of 5, which is destruction of enemies, and success in undertaking is very important. Jupiter is also Karaka of name and fame. So for fame to rise, Jupiter support is definitely needed. And then Venus support is also present because it says Venus is getting a score of 5, contacts with friends. And then you have Saturn. Saturn score is something which is very, very low. It is the lowest, and it is uncaught in action, sickness. So it probably will create some health problems for Kamala. Again, we do not know her overall health, so we should not comment. And again, we will not be able to see um, how she is doing in terms of overall health, right? So this is what Astakavarga will tell you. Like we what we have seen is again important planets are like Venus because remember Rahu Dasha was running, and under Rahu Dasha it is the sub period of Venus which is there, and under sub period of Venus we have sub period of Sun. So both Sun and Venus are in good dignity here in the Vinastak. Now the third third way to analyze Ashtakavarga is through transit Kaksha. So this basically tells you that okay, Sun is there in the Leo sign, it is getting 5 as the BAV score, but on that particular day, which is 22nd of August, was Sun in a Kaksha, which had a Bindu in it. Now here we can see that on that day, she did not, its Sun was not in the Kaksha. Sun was in the Kaksha of Jupiter, and there was no Bindu given to the Sun. But guess what? If you Sun, Moon, and Mars do not have any bindus, but Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn, all of them were transiting in the Kaksha which had a bindu in it. So even even Saturn, we know that Saturn is in the sign which has got only 1 point. Saturn is in Aquarius sign, and Aquarius sign in the Saturn's BAV has got only 1 point, and that 1 point was donated or given by the moon, and Saturn was transiting through the Kaksha of moon on 22nd of August. So Saturn was giving her all the support that she needed on that fateful day. And then support for Jupiter is seen, support for Venus is also there, support for Mercury is also there. So in that way, I mean, if you apply these principles, like looking at the natal chart, look at the dasha, and then look at the transit on a particular day, you'll be able to analyze what events are going to happen in the life of a person. Can be anybody, right? Uh, all the good events, bad events can be seen. Again, this transit Varga and transit Kakshas it's a very broad topic, but again, I've given you some hints how to analyze those tools also to see the results of transit. So that's all I have for this video. Thanks everyone for watching this video. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the comment section. Thanks again. Bye.